Okay, I'm trying to read Alan Watts to y'all. So that's what I'm gonna do because Alan Watts here is saying what I'm trying to say lots of times. I don't necessarily agree with Alan Watts always. Like, he's not my favorite. But what he's trying to say is what I'm trying to say, so I'm just gonna say it, but have the validation of him behind me. You might not listen to me, but you might listen to Alan Watts. I mean, really, I should be quoting someone like Einstein to get someone to listen to me. And there's so many people who falsely quote Einstein. Who knows what the fuck Einstein said at this point? Anyway, this is Alan Watts. Science has destroyed the religious symbol of the world because when symbols are confused with reality, different ways of symbolizing reality will seem contradictory. The scientific way of symbolizing the world is more suited to utilitarian purposes than the religious way, but this does not mean that it has any more truth. Is it truer to classify rabbits according to their meat or according to their fur? It depends on what you want to do with them. I kind of hate that analogy, but okay. The clash between science and religion has not shown that religion is false and science is true. It has shown that all systems of definition are relative to various purposes and that none of them actually grasp reality. And because religion was being misused as a means for actually grasping and possessing the mystery of life, a certain measure of debunking was highly necessary. But in the process of symbolizing the universe in this way or that, for this purpose or that, we seem to have lost the actual joy and meaning of life itself. All the various definitions of the universe have had ulterior motives, being concerned with the future rather than the present. Religion wants to assure a future beyond death, and science wants to assure it until death and to postpone death. But tomorrow and plans for tomorrow can have no significance at all unless you are in full contact with reality of the present, since it is the present and only in the present that you live. There is no other reality than present reality, so that even if one were to live for endless ages, to live for the future would be to miss the point everlastingly. Anyway, I just want to say that science and religion are saying the same things, but they're doing it under different frameworks of knowledge, and that if you take pure science and pure religion, they're going to point you to the same shit, so it doesn't make sense why we're egotistical heathens now, and we just say there is no God and only science, because science, the rules, the deterministic rules of cause and effect are like the workings of the universe, the workings of God, the higher power of which we are, but we cannot control. The law of cause and effect, the primal cause, the singularity, whatever the fuck you want to call it. The energy that is neither created nor destroyed. And so if someone wants to get on me about that because of black holes and dark matter, well, it's still energy of the system. And I would say that if you find any energy that's not in the universe that interacts with our universe, we would classify that as the universe, because the universe is necessarily defined as all things, and because of that, it's a closed system, because there's nothing outside of it that interacts with the universe. And when something becomes a part of a black hole, apparently it releases all of its energy first. I still don't really know how to explain the energy of black holes, because that's kind of outside of our universe, right? Because we can't get to it. But I'm not a physicist. Maybe it's a part of our universe. I understand there's some complications there, but just from a purely scientific standpoint, or definitional standpoint, we define the universe as all things. So then there's nothing outside of the universe. It's the ultimate closed system, so it's going to conserve its energy, and energy equals mass, so we're necessarily energy. So it kind of makes sense that we're like this thing that just kind of flows from a definite bang to a definite crunch, or whatever you want to call it. and just cycles through life and death and life and death and life and death. You know? It makes sense. But I can't tell you what to think. I'm just saying that it seems to be the case that religion and science both points to this. And if you want to say science is precise, the uncertainty principle, science don't know shit. It's a model for reality. That's why when these scientists come around and they're like, I did the scientific method, I did this, I did that, I know I'm right. Most of them have about as much proof as the crackhead walking down the street saying that they just saw Jesus. You know? It's the same thing. Scientists can fuck up just as much as the crackhead that sees Jesus. Objective measurement, subjective measurement. It relatively depends on the speed at which you're moving, how long things are. What is real? I don't think that we can ever touch reality. I don't think we can ever know what's really there except by knowing that it is that which is there. The closest we can get to being an omniscient God is to become all things at once. To experience subjectively from every position in space-time. Which is why I think we're all one God. We are the world. We are the children. I have more William Blake to read you. I tried to post a video of William Blake the other day, me reading William Blake. It was a wonderful poetry reading. And for some reason it wouldn't post. But just pretend you heard that. I'm not going to read that because that's a long thing. And it was really, I tried to read it 15 times and I finally got one good one. They might have been taken down for copyright reasons, probably. But this is a shorter passage, so we're going to call it fair use, YouTube. This is called All Religions Are One by William Blake. Patti Smith. All religions are one, the voice of one crying in the wilderness, the argument. As the true method of knowledge is experiment, the true faculty of knowing must be the faculty with which experiences. This faculty I treat of, Principle 1. That the poetic genius is the true man, and that the body or outward form of man is derived from the poetic genius, likewise that the forms of all things are derived from their genius, which by the ancients was called an angel and spirit and demon. Principle 2. As all men are alike in outward form, so, and with the same infinite variety, all are alike in the poetic genius. Principle 3. No man can think right or speak from his heart, but he must intend the truth. Thus all sects of philosophy are from the poetic genius adapted to the weaknesses of every individual. Principle 4. As none by traveling over known lands can find out the unknown, so from already acquired knowledge man could not acquire more. Therefore, and universal poetic genius exists. Principle 5. The religions of all nations are derived from each nation's different reception of the poetic genius, which is everywhere called the spirit of prophecy. Principle 6. The Jewish and Christian testaments are an original derivation from the poetic genius. This is necessary from the confined nature of bodily sensation. Principle 7. As all men are alike, though infinitely various, so all religion, and as all similars have one source. The true man is the source, he being the poetic genius. He was saying we're all one too. Anyway, I'm gonna try to post me reading To the Christians by William Blake. If you see double post, I don't think the first one posted, but I tried, so I did it twice. Anyway, that's me reading shit. That was all my ground. Books that I haven't finished reading. Anyway, bye.